Let me tell you something they likely haven't told you. Something that holds the key to unlocking a life far beyond the one fear might have convinced you is your limit. Your mind, right now, is engaged in a battle you might not even realize you're fighting. A silent war where the stakes are your potential, your peace, and your very future. You see, you're either actively shaping your thoughts, building them into a force for good, or the powerful, insidious voice of fear is doing the shaping for you, molding your reality into a reflection of its limitations. In the next few minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain on this internal conflict, exploring why your thoughts are the ultimate drivers of your destiny and how you can seize control. Stick with me until the very end, because the journey we're about to take reveals the most powerful strategies for reclaiming your mental territory and ensuring that you, not fear, are in command. Insights that echo the timeless wisdom of mastering yourself to master your world. This isn't just theory, it's a practical guide to forging an unstoppable mindset, one trained for resilience, purpose, and courageous action, much like the principles that guided some of history's most impactful figures. We'll uncover the simple, quiet decisions that build unshakable belief and the essential weapons you already possess to cut through the fog of doubt. By the time we're done, you'll understand the true cost of an untrained mind, and more importantly, the incredible power you wield to rewrite your own story. So if you're ready to stop being trained by fear and start training your thoughts for victory, hit that like button to tell the algorithm this message matters, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future insights designed to help you build the life you were meant to live. Let's dive in. While clarity illuminates the path and purpose provides the fuel, discipline is the armor that protects your progress on the journey. It is the unglamorous, often tedious, but absolutely essential practice of consistent effort and intentional action. This is where many people falter. They may grasp the importance of clarity and feel a stirring of purpose, but they lack the discipline to translate those insights into sustained action and to guard their minds against the constant barrage of distractions and the seductive pull of comfort. Discipline is not about brute force or willpower alone. It's about establishing consistent habits that support your goals and protect your mental space. It's the daily repetition of choosing focused thought over scattered wandering, of prioritizing intentional action over reactive busyness. Think of it as building a strong, resilient shield for your mind. This shield isn't flashy. It's built in the quiet hours, through consistent practice, through the deliberate act of rewriting your inner script again and again until the old patterns of fear and limitation have nowhere left to reside, no cracks in the armor to exploit. Becoming disciplined means becoming the conscious editor of your own mind. You must approach your thoughts with a ruthless objectivity, evaluating each one based on whether it serves your mission, your purpose, and your vision. Thoughts that are rooted in fear, doubt, or self-pity must be identified and actively replaced with thoughts that are constructive, empowering, and aligned with your goals. This isn't about suppressing negative emotions. It's about refusing to allow those emotions to dictate your internal narrative and your subsequent actions. Here is a truth that many find uncomfortable. Most people, often unconsciously, coddle their fear. They treat it like a fragile heirloom, something to be protected and preserved. They decorate it with elaborate excuses. I'm not ready, it's too risky. What will people think? Narratives that justify their inaction and keep them safely within their comfort zone. They keep their fear alive by constantly retelling stories of past failures, perceived limitations, and hypothetical worst-case scenarios. Their fear becomes a self-created cage, and they diligently maintain the bars. The brave, the driven, the disciplined, they approach fear differently. They don't coddle it, they starve it. They consciously deprive it of the attention and energy it needs to thrive. They replace the debilitating question, "What if I fail?" with the empowering question, "What if I never try?" They replace the passive declaration, "I don't know how," with the proactive commitment, "I will figure it out." They replace the paralyzing feeling of, "I'm scared," with the resolute affirmation, "I am ready." These conscious replacements are not mere slogans. They are acts of mental reconditioning. By repeatedly choosing and reinforcing thoughts that align with courage and action, they are building new neural pathways, creating new mental muscle memory. These new patterns become their default response to challenging situations. When fear shows up, instead of triggering a cascade of doubt and hesitation, it triggers a learned response of proactive problem-solving and resolute forward motion. Their minds are like clay. They actively shape it according to their will, refusing to be passively molded or dragged down by the default settings of fear and inertia. In a world that often seems determined to train us to fear the unknown, to shrink from challenges, and to prioritize comfort over growth, your greatest power lies in your ability to think with courage. This doesn't mean thinking without fear. It means thinking in defiance of it. It means consciously choosing thoughts that empower you to act, not from a place of anxiety, but from a place of determined intent. It means speaking your vision into the silence of uncertainty and taking action before you feel completely ready or certain of the outcome. The world doesn't need more careful thinkers who meticulously analyze every potential pitfall until they are paralyzed by indecision. It needs courageous thinkers, not reckless or arrogant, but bold with purpose. People whose thoughts have been forged in the fire of challenging experiences, not softened by the pursuit of constant comfort. These individuals look fear in the eye, not because they are fearless, but because they have trained their minds to see through fear's illusions, to recognize it not as an insurmountable barrier, but as a test, an opportunity to demonstrate their mental fortitude and their commitment to their path. Discipline is the armor that allows you to withstand the heat of this test and emerge stronger and more resolute on the other side. Make no mistake, the path of intentional living and courageous action is not one where fear miraculously disappears. In fact, the opposite is often true. The moment you declare war on mediocrity, the moment you draw a line in the sand and state unequivocally, "This is who I am becoming," fear will rise. It sees your growing strength and your commitment to a larger purpose as a direct threat to its dominion, and it will intensify its efforts to pull you back into the familiar, albeit limiting, territory of comfort and inaction. Fear will scream its loudest when you are on the verge of a breakthrough, when you are stepping into a new level of growth and possibility. It will claw at you, attempting to drag you back into the depths of self-doubt and inertia. It will throw everything it has at you, distractions disguised as opportunities, self-doubt dressed in the cloak of humility, false logic that justifies playing small, the seductive comfort of familiar routines, and even old wounds resurfacing and presenting themselves as valid reasons to retreat. But if you have done the work, if you have diligently trained your thoughts, you will be equipped to meet this intensified resistance, not like a terrified victim confronting a monstrous, unknown entity, but like a seasoned warrior recognizing an old familiar opponent. Fear will no longer be a mystery that paralyzes you. It will be a predictable shadow, a recognizable voice, something that may have owned you in the past, but no longer has the power to define your present or your future. This is the power of a trained mind. Your thoughts no longer beg for peace and comfort. They are prepared for the ongoing battle. They are sharp, focused, and equipped with weapons forged through consistent practice and intentional direction. These weapons are not external tools, they are internal disciplines. Focus is one such weapon. A trained mind can direct its attention deliberately towards the task at hand, the solution or the desired outcome, refusing to be pulled off course by the distractions and anxieties that fear attempts to introduce. It's the ability to silence the mental chatter and concentrate your energy on what matters most in any given moment. Purpose, as we've discussed, is another potent weapon. It provides the unwavering direction that prevents fear from convincing you to deviate from your path. When your why is strong and clear, the temptations of comfort and the whispers of doubt lose their power to derail you. Repetition is the forging process for these weapons. It's the consistent practice of choosing empowering thoughts over fearful ones, of taking action despite hesitation, of reinforcing your purpose daily. This repetition builds mental muscle memory, making the courageous response the default one. Discipline, the armor, allows you to maintain this consistent effort. It's the commitment to showing up, doing the work, and guarding your mental space even when you don't feel like it. It's the framework that supports your focus, reinforces your purpose, and enables the power of repetition. However, it is crucial to understand that none of these internal weapons, no matter how sharp or well-forged, can achieve anything in isolation. Thoughts alone, no matter how positive or well-intentioned, do not build empires, create legacies, or transform lives. Thoughts are the spark, the initial impulse, the blueprint, but it is action that lights the fire, that brings the blueprint to life, that translates potential into reality. And this is where the potential of countless individuals remains tragically unrealized. They die with their potential intact, their dreams confined to the realm of the mind. They dream in private, vividly imagining a different future, but they never take the necessary steps to make those dreams a public reality. They plan meticulously, tweak obsessively, endlessly refining their ideas, and they justify this inaction by calling it preparation. But beneath the surface of this elaborate planning often lies a deep-seated fear. The fear of exposure, the fear of judgment, the fear of failing in public. They are, in essence, hiding behind the facade of preparation. They mistakenly believe that if they just think about it long enough, if they analyze every conceivable angle and mitigate every potential risk, they can somehow eliminate the possibility of failure. But there is no version of growth, no significant achievement that does not require the leap. There is no thought, no matter how powerful or positive, that can completely remove all fear or guarantee a perfect outcome. At some point, you must make the fundamental decision that forward motion, even imperfect forward motion, matters more than the elusive ideal of perfection. The test of fear is not whether you feel it, but whether you allow it to prevent you from taking action. The true strength of a trained mind is demonstrated not in the absence of fear, but in the willingness and ability to act despite its presence, using your honed mental weapons to navigate the inevitable challenges that arise on the path towards your purpose. As we've established, thoughts are the blueprint, the spark, the initial impulse, but without action they remain dormant, unrealized potential. This is the critical juncture where countless dreams fade and potential remains untapped. The world is full of brilliant ideas, ambitious plans and heartfelt intentions that never translate into tangible reality because they are not coupled with decisive action. The tendency to endlessly plan, analyze, and refine while seemingly productive can often be a sophisticated form of procrastination driven by fear. We tell ourselves we're just preparing, gathering more information, or waiting for the perfect moment. But what we're often doing is hiding from the vulnerability of putting ourselves out there, hiding from the possibility of failure, hiding from the discomfort of uncertainty. We create elaborate mental simulations, dissecting every potential outcome, in a futile attempt to eliminate risk. But risk is an inherent part of growth and innovation. There is no version of a fulfilling or impactful life that doesn't require taking a leap of faith at some point. There is no mental exercise, no amount of positive thinking, no strategic planning, no matter how exhaustive, that can completely remove all fear from the equation. Fear is an inherent part of venturing into the unknown, of pushing your boundaries, of striving for something meaningful. The crucial realization is that at some point, you must decide that forward motion is more important than achieving a state of perfect readiness or guaranteeing a flawless outcome. The desire to move forward, driven by your purpose and supported by your trained thoughts, must outweigh the fear of stumbling or falling. So take the step, even if it's small, a hesitant shuffle rather than a confident stride. Even if your voice trembles with nerves when you speak your truth or share your idea. Even if no one is there to witness it, to cheer you on, or to applaud your effort. The significance lies not in the size of the step or the external recognition, but in the act of taking it. Because every bold action, no matter how small, becomes a new piece of evidence, a new input for your mind to process. It becomes a new thought. I acted despite my fear. I survived. I learned something. And these new thoughts, these tiny victories, begin to compound. They build momentum, they create a feedback loop where action reinforces courage, and courage enables further action. Gradually, cumulatively, these acts of defiance against fear accumulate until one day, you realize that the very fear that once paralyzed you now bows in your presence. Not because you have eliminated fear entirely, but because you have proven through repeated action that its power over you is diminished. You have demonstrated, perhaps not once but 100 times, that you are no longer controlled by its dictates. Your actions have built a history of resilience that speaks louder than any fearful whisper. Acting despite fear awakens something ancient and powerful within you: resilience. This isn't the polished, idealized version often portrayed in movies and inspirational posters. This is the real kind of resilience, the kind forged in the crucible of late nights and early mornings, in the grind of consistent effort when motivation wanes. It's the kind built by individuals who have been metaphorically, and sometimes literally, punched in the face by life's challenges and still found the strength to get back up. It's the quiet, determined whisper that says, "This storm doesn't scare me. I have weathered worse. In fact, I am the storm." But resilience isn't just about enduring hardship. It's also about adaptability. It's the understanding that fear is a cunning adversary that will constantly change its shape and disguise itself in new forms. It will wear the mask of logic, telling you that your dreams are impractical. It will pose as safety, urging you to stay in a comfortable but stifling situation. It will present itself as practicality, convincing you to settle for the familiar and the predictable. Fear will hide behind the well-intentioned but limiting advice of friends who say, "Be realistic." It will lurk in the deceptive comfort of a job that drains your soul but pays the bills, or a relationship that feels safe but keeps you small and prevents you from growing. It will manifest in habits that offer short-term relief but poison your long-term well-being. And if your thoughts are not trained to see through these disguises, you will believe the lie. You will mistake stagnation for stability, equating comfort with security. You will call fear wisdom, believing its cautious whispers are the voice of reason guiding you to safety. And consequently, you will stay exactly where you are, full of unrealized dreams and starving for the courage required to pursue them. Action, fueled by a trained mind, is the only way to break free from this cycle and to prove to yourself through experience that you are capable of moving through fear and building a life defined by intention, not limitation. Beyond action and discipline, two other crucial pillars support the architecture of a resilient and fearless mind: gratitude and lifelong learning. These are not mere add-ons or optional extras. They are fundamental practices that fortify your internal landscape and equip you to navigate the inevitable challenges of life. Gratitude, when practiced authentically, is a powerful antidote to the scarcity mindset that fear often fosters. It's not the superficial kind of gratitude you might list on a sticky note just to feel better for a moment. It's a deep, grounding awareness of the blessings and resources you already possess, even in the midst of difficulty. Genuine gratitude centers you, anchoring you to something larger than your immediate anxieties and fears. It is not a sign of weakness or complacency. It is a profound source of power. Gratitude reminds you of your own resilience. It highlights the fact that you have already survived challenges that you once believed would break you. The very breath in your lungs, the beating of your heart, are tangible signals that you are still here, still capable, and still chosen to continue the fight for a life of purpose. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what you lack to what you have, fostering a sense of abundance even in challenging circumstances. It says, "Even now, even in this moment of uncertainty or difficulty, I have something to be thankful for, something to build upon, something to give." This mindset, rooted in appreciation for the present, provides an emotional foundation that makes you more flexible and adaptable when faced with unexpected twists and turns. Because life rarely unfolds exactly according to plan. It is inherently unpredictable, filled with detours, setbacks, and moments of chaos. But if you have trained your thoughts, if you have cultivated a mindset of gratitude and resilience, you will be able to bend without breaking. You will be able to pivot without panicking. You will keep moving forward, not because the path is easy, but because your commitment to your mission and your belief in your ability to adapt are stronger than the obstacles in your way. Look again at the individuals who built empires from nothing: the Fords, the Disneys, the Jobs. They were not simply lucky, they were mentally unshakable. They experienced failure, loss, and stumble upon unforeseen challenges, but they never surrendered their minds to the dominion of fear. They adjusted their strategies, learned from their mistakes, and continued to grow. And this brings us to the second pillar: lifelong, relentless learning. This goes beyond formal education or acquiring new skills from books and mentors, although those are valuable components. True lifelong learning involves extracting wisdom from every experience, particularly from pain, rejection, failure, and even the quiet moments of solitude. If your thoughts are trained to see feedback instead of finality, lessons instead of losses, you become unstoppable. Every setback becomes an opportunity to learn, to adjust, to refine your approach. Every moment of discomfort becomes a chance to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world. You begin to crave growth more than you crave comfort. You become a student of the journey itself, embracing the process of learning and evolution, rather than being imprisoned by the need for perfection or the fear of making mistakes. You learn how to sit with failure, not in despair, but with curiosity, asking it, "What did you come to teach me?" Because every fear, every limiting belief has a root. And when you are willing to engage in the process of lifelong learning, which includes honest introspection, you dig deep enough to uncover those roots. You interrogate the thoughts that hold you back, tracing them back to their origins, stories of inadequacy, beliefs about limits, narratives that were never truly yours to begin with, but were adopted from external sources or past experiences. Once you bring these thoughts into the light of conscious awareness, once you examine them critically, they lose their power over you. The mind, like a muscle, only grows stronger when it is challenged. Fear, like a parasite, thrives in darkness and ignorance. So shine the light of awareness on your fears. Ask better questions about your limiting beliefs. Challenge the thought that says, "I can't," and replace it with, "How could I?" Interrupt the cycle of fearful thinking. Break the pattern of inaction. Speak to yourself with the force and conviction of someone who is done surviving and has begun the powerful work of building a life, building a legacy, building the strongest possible version of themselves. This is not about fleeting motivation. It's about the deliberate, ongoing construction of your mental architecture. Gratitude provides the solid ground upon which to build, and lifelong learning provides the tools and insights needed to continually strengthen and refine that structure, ensuring that your mind remains a command center, not a cage. Let's delve deeper into the process of challenging those deeply ingrained limiting beliefs that often fuel our fears and hold us back. As we discussed, fear often hides in the darkness of unconscious thought patterns, whispering its limitations in our own voice. These beliefs, often formed early in life or reinforced by negative experiences, can become invisible walls around our potential, shaping our reality without us even realizing it. The mind, though incredibly complex, is also remarkably adaptable. It is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic system capable of being rewritten. Every moment is, in essence, a blank page, an opportunity to begin again, not just with your actions, but more fundamentally, with your thoughts. This is the beauty and the power of the human mind, its capacity for transformation. You don't necessarily need more time in your day or perfect external circumstances to begin this process of mental transformation. What you fundamentally need is to engage in and win the war inside your own head. And this war is not fought with external noise and frantic activity. It is fought in the stillness, in the quiet moments of introspection and self-awareness. It is in these moments that you can finally discern the crucial difference between your true voice, the voice of your authentic self, your intuition, your purpose, and fear's insidious impersonation of it. You've heard that voice before, haven't you? The one that shows up at the edge of risk, whispering, "Don't go there, it's too dangerous." The one that stands at the door of opportunity, planting seeds of doubt with the question, "What if you fail?" The one that disguises itself as logic, telling you to be cautious and play it safe when your soul is screaming for more, for expansion, for a life lived fully. The individuals who rise above mediocrity, who build legacies, who rewrite the rules, of what is possible, they don't try to kill that voice of fear. Attempting to suppress or eliminate fear is often a futile endeavor. Instead, they confront it. They look it directly in the eye, acknowledging its presence but refusing to be led by it. They say with quiet strength and unwavering conviction, "I hear you, fear. I acknowledge your presence and the feelings you bring. But I am not led by fear. I am led by my vision, my purpose, my commitment to what matters." Because the mind was not designed for comfort or for simply maintaining the status quo. It was built for creation, for exploration, for growth. And it is at its most powerful, its most vibrant, when it is given a mission greater than mere safety or survival. What is your mission? What is the purpose that is so compelling, so deeply aligned with your values, that it can override the innate human tendency towards comfort and risk avoidance? If you don't consciously define that mission, the world, with all its external pressures and distractions, will hand you a default one. It will tell you to chase superficial validation instead of genuine meaning, to accumulate wealth instead of pursuing fulfillment, to seek external approval instead of cultivating inner purpose. And your untrained thoughts will passively follow, easily hijacked by the loudest external voices and the most pervasive societal norms. But when you define your mission, when you burn it so deeply into your bones that it becomes an inseparable part of who you are, something profound shifts within you. You stop needing external motivation because you are driven by an internal direction. You stop hesitating at the edge of uncertainty because you know where you are going, even if the path is not perfectly clear. You stop living a life of reaction to external stimuli and start living a life of conscious intention. Intention is everything. Without it, even the strongest person, the most talented individual, will eventually crumble under the weight of external pressures and internal doubts. But with intention, even the most uncertain soul can move mountains. Intention gives weight to your thoughts, transforming passive wishes into powerful declarations. It turns "I hope" into "I will." It transforms someday into today. It transmutes the raw energy of fear into the fuel for determined action. However, it is crucial not to misunderstand this concept. This is not about naive positive thinking, blindly affirming pleasant outcomes while ignoring reality. This is about purposeful thinking, thinking that is rooted in a clear understanding of reality, built through consistent repetition of empowering thought patterns and tested in the crucible of real-world action. This is about mental mastery, the deliberate cultivation of a mind that is aligned with your highest potential, not held captive by your deepest fears. Challenging limiting beliefs is a continuous process of examining your internal narrative, questioning the stories you tell yourself, and consciously choosing to rewrite them in service of your defined mission and purpose. Mental mastery is the culmination of training your thoughts, aligning them with your vision, shaping them by your purpose, and firing them daily in the furnace of self-awareness and conscious choice. It is the state where your internal landscape is no longer a chaotic battleground, but a well-ordered command center, operating in service of your highest intentions. And once you reach this state, you become, in a very real sense, inevitable. People will observe you and wonder at your ability to move through chaos with a quiet calm. They will be struck by the conviction in your voice when others are hesitant and unsure. They will witness you building and creating where others only talk about possibilities. But they won't see the hours you spent in the quiet of your own mind, diligently rewriting your inner narrative. They won't see the mornings when you looked in the mirror, faced your own doubts, and consciously declared victory over fear before the day even truly began. They won't see the nights you sat in silence, examining your thoughts and retraining your mind to see opportunity where it once perceived only danger. They won't see the work, the real, demanding, internal work that happens long before any external applause or recognition arrives, because the applause, the external validation, is merely the echo of the work that has already been done within. Your thoughts, consciously chosen and consistently trained, are the origin point, the source from which all external achievement flows. Therefore, the imperative is clear. Train your thoughts. Train them relentlessly, with unwavering focus, and dedication. Train them unapologetically, refusing to allow external pressures or internal inertia to derail your efforts. Train them daily, making the conscious cultivation of your inner world a non-negotiable priority. Sharpen them like tools, ensuring they are precise and effective in cutting through doubt and confusion. Polish them like weapons, ready to defend your mental space against the infiltrations of fear. Build them like walls around your inner peace and your defined purpose, creating a sanctuary of strength and resilience. You don't need more time in your day to undertake this essential work. You don't need permission from anyone outside of yourself. You don't need someone to rescue you from your circumstances or your fears. You need to take responsibility for rescuing your own mind from the slow, corrosive decay that fear inflicts when left unchecked. And you start where you are in this moment, with the resources you have. Not next year, when circumstances might be different. Not next month, when you might feel more ready. Not even next week, when you might have more free time. You start now with one simple, powerful question. What thought have I been serving, allowing to dictate my feelings and actions, that no longer truly serves me and my highest good? When you name that thought, when you bring it into the light of conscious awareness, you reclaim power from it. When you challenge its validity, questioning its truth and its usefulness, you reclaim your freedom from its limiting influence. And when you consciously choose to replace that thought with something else, something forged in your purpose, focused on your vision and rooted in truth, you reclaim your future. You reclaim your future not by passively waiting for external circumstances to change, but by actively mastering your present. And mastering your present begins with one single moment of conscious choice, one breath, one decision to redirect. Your mental energy, not the decision you plan to make next month when the timing is perfect, or the one you'll finally commit to when everything aligns flawlessly. Because the desire for perfection is often just another disguise that fear wears when it is afraid of real progress. No, it happens now in the gritty, uncertain, unfinished reality you are currently living. If you can train your thoughts in the middle of the mess, if you can find clarity and purpose amidst the chaos, then nothing can stop you when circumstances become clearer. You must internalize this truth deeply, in your bones, in your very being. Your mind was never designed to be a cage that restricts you. It was built to be a command center that directs you, a throne from which you rule your inner kingdom, a forge where you shape your destiny. Everything you do, every habit you form, every belief you hold, every ounce of momentum you build, it is all a byproduct of thought. And yet most people never dare to challenge their own thoughts. They blindly follow them, mistaking familiarity for truth, confusing anxiety for instinct, and interpreting every fearful thought as a sign to stop, never realizing that fear isn't always a warning of danger. Sometimes it is a signal to grow. Fear will show up at every new level of your journey. You will feel its presence when you raise your standards, when you ask for more, when you dare to walk away from the average version of yourself and aim higher. But here is the crucial distinction the world often fails to teach you. The mere presence of fear does not mean you are on the wrong path. More often than not, it means you have finally found the right one, a path that challenges you, expands you, and calls you to become more. Anything worth becoming, anything that leads to genuine growth and fulfillment, will first require you to walk through fire. The fire of doubt, the fire of resistance, the fire of uncertainty that accompanies growth. But those flames don't burn you if you walk through them with trained thoughts, with a clear purpose, and with the armor of discipline. They forge you, hardening your will, clarifying your vision, and strengthening your resolve. So stop waiting for life to become easy before you begin the work. Stop waiting for fear to miraculously disappear before you take action. Instead, focus on getting stronger internally. Train your thoughts not to avoid fear, but to move through it. Not around it, not under it, not in avoidance of it, but directly through it. And this requires a conscious awareness of the thoughts that are constantly running in the background of your mind, because the most dangerous beliefs are often not the loud, dramatic ones, but the quiet, subtle whispers that sound like simple statements of fact. That's just not who I am. I've never been good at that kind of thing. That kind of life isn't meant for someone like me. If you don't catch these subtle thoughts, if you don't confront them and challenge their validity, They will become law, establishing invisible walls around your potential. But remember this: every belief you hold is a decision you have made, consciously or unconsciously. Every identity you inhabit is a story you have been telling yourself, or that has been told to you and you have accepted as truth. And stories, unlike immutable facts, can be rewritten. You were not born afraid to speak your mind. You were not born hesitant to try new things. You were not born afraid to fail. Those thoughts were given to you by your environment, by your experiences, by repetition. But just because a thought entered your mind doesn't mean it belongs there. Not every guest is welcome. Not every idea deserves a seat at your table. So, start choosing. Consciously choose thoughts that expand you, that challenge you to grow, that speak to your highest potential self, not your safest, most comfortable self. That authentic voice, the one that knew even as a child that you were meant for more, the one that still burns when you are alone with your dreams, is still inside you. It's the voice that whispers, "This ordinary half-lived fear-shaped life is not enough for you." And that voice is right. But here's the crucial deal. You can't just want more, you have to become more. Not just in your actions, but in your fundamental identity. And identity is nothing more than a repeated thought, a belief that is reinforced by evidence, and that evidence is created by action. So start small. Start by doing the one small thing that fear tells you not to do today. Start by breaking one pattern, the smallest one you can identify, just to prove to yourself that you are capable of conscious choice and change. Because once you break one pattern, the second becomes easier, and then the third, and then the momentum takes over. That's the compound effect of deliberate thought and action. That's the chain reaction that happens when belief translates into behavior, and a single brave idea leads to a fundamental shift in who you are becoming. And let me tell you something else the world won't always say, but which is undeniably true. It is not too late, not even close. You haven't missed your shot. You haven't failed too many times for redemption. You haven't been broken beyond repair. All that has happened is this: fear got to your thoughts first and set up camp. But now in this moment, you are taking them back. You are not doing it with shallow affirmations that lack substance or feel-good slogans that offer temporary comfort. You are doing it with focus, with the fire of purpose, and with unwavering discipline. You are doing it by standing guard at the gates of your mind, diligently deciding every single day what thoughts are allowed entry and what are turned away. And that is power. That is sovereignty over your own being. That is what separates those who passively drift through life from those who consciously drive towards their destiny. Because life isn't simply happening to you, it is happening from you, from your thoughts, from your standards, from the internal architecture you have built within your mind. So build it strong, build it brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. This is the path to mental mastery, the forge of an unstoppable self, capable of navigating any storm and creating a life that reflects the full measure of your potential, not the limitations of your fears. So here we are, at the end of this journey together. We've walked through the landscape of the mind, uncovering the silent battleground where fear seeks to dominate. We've seen how your thoughts aren't just random occurrences, but powerful forces shaping your reality, and how fear, that cunning adversary, often whispers its limitations in your own voice, sometimes even disguised as good advice or practical caution. We've explored the vital importance of clarity to cut through the mental fog, the unyielding fire of purpose that propels you forward, and the essential armor of discipline that protects your progress when the path gets difficult. We've talked about the courageous action required to translate thought into reality, the quiet strength found in gratitude, and the transformative power of learning from every experience, including the painful ones. Remember those historical figures we touched upon? They weren't superheroes without fear. They were humans who mastered their response to it, proving that you too possess the capacity to defy limitation by training your internal world. Your mind is not a prison. It is the command center of your potential, the forge where your resilience is built, the throne from which you can rule your experience. The life you live, the impact you make, the peace you find, it all starts here within the quiet space of your own consciousness, with the thoughts you choose to cultivate and the fear you refuse to obey. The power was never outside you. It was always within, waiting for you to claim it. The call to action isn't a dramatic one, it's a daily, often quiet commitment. It's the decision right now to begin the work, to stand guard at the gates of your mind, to question the thoughts that limit you, and to actively build the mental architecture that serves your highest vision. This transformation isn't about eliminating fear, but about growing so strong, so focused, so purposeful, that fear simply loses its power to control you. If this exploration resonated with you, if it sparked a flicker of recognition or ignited a desire for change, please hit the like button to help this message reach others who need to hear it. Share this video with someone you believe could benefit from training their thoughts, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future insights designed to help you build a life lived fully, defined by your intention, not limited by your fear. The work begins now.